Hello dear students, welcome back to your physics class. This is your physics teacher. I hope you all are well. We have completed chapter 2, physical quantities and measurement. Now today we are going to start chapter 3, force. In this chapter you will learn about force and its effects, the frictional force and the situations where the three types of friction are in play, and the advantages and disadvantages of force of friction in our everyday life. So before going to start, let us have a look at this statement. Something interesting is written here. When a fruit or flower detaches from a tree, it falls down to the ground. Similarly, in a waterfall, water flows downwards. And when a ball is thrown upwards, it rises to a certain distance, it goes up to a certain distance, and then comes down. So why do the things fall downwards? What is the reason behind this? The reason is gravitational force of attraction. The gravitational force of attraction, or the force of gravity. So what is the gravitational force of attraction? The force of attraction that pulls the objects towards the surface of Earth is called the gravitational force of attraction. It plays a very important role in our everyday life because the gravitational force of Earth allows us to walk on the surface of Earth. And this is the gravitational force of attraction which ensures that the objects on the Earth always stays on the surface of the Earth. So that's why a ball thrown up in the air comes down, and the revolution of the planets around the sun is also due to the gravitational force exerted by the sun. So all these happenings are caused due to the gravitational force of attraction. In our everyday life, we do various kind of activities in which we need to push or pull a door to open or close it. Similarly, in the bathroom, we have to twist the knob of the tap to turn it on and off, and you people lift your bags to go to the school. Similarly, we cut vegetables and fruits with the help of knife by pushing them, and we open a drawer by pulling the drawer. So in all these kind of activities, the push, pull, twist, open, close, all these are the forms of forces which makes things move. And this movement of objects is called motion. So every motion of a body is a result of some kind of force acting upon it. So we can describe force as a push or pull applied on the objects. Hence every movement is a result of some force, and as we have discussed earlier, the movement of the planets, stars and the moon is also due to some kind of force. Next is force is a push or a pull. How we can define a force? Force can be defined as a push or pull, or we can say that a force can either be in the form of a push or a pull. So the day-to-day life activities like kicking a football, pulling a shopping cart, lifting the weights, riding a bicycle, all involve the use of force. Objects in this world can either be in the state of rest or they can be in the state of motion. For example, if you look around yourself, then you will see the objects like trees, buildings, classrooms, tables, blackboard, chairs. These do not move until we apply a force in the form of a push or pull. So these objects which do not move with respect to the earth are said to be in the state of rest. And when we apply force to a body which is at rest, either in the form of a push or a pull, it starts moving, or we impart motion to the body. For example, when we push a chair, then it starts moving from its state of rest. And on the other hand, when you look at the moving bodies, a car moving on the road and a bird flying in the sky, they are in motion. So all the moving objects are in a state of motion. Now it is clear that if we want to change the state of a body, for example from rest to motion, then we need to exert a force. And if we need to stop a moving body, then we have to apply force to stop its motion in the opposite direction. It means we have to apply force in both these situations. If we want to move the body, or if we want to bring it from rest to motion, then we need to apply force in that direction. And if we want to stop a moving body, then we apply force to stop its motion in the opposite direction. For example, if this pencil is moving in this direction and I want to stop the motion of this pencil, then I will apply force in a opposite direction. Next is an activity. This is an assignment for you. You will solve it and you have to identify the force in each of these actions as push or pull. Next is magnitude and direction of force. The first thing is that the force is a derived physical quantity. It is not a fundamental quantity. It is a derived physical quantity and it is represented by the letter capital F. Now all forces have a magnitude as well as direction in which the force is applied. For example, if I am applying the force on this pencil, then there will be a particular direction in which I am applying the force on this pencil. So that's why a force has both magnitude as well as direction. Magnitude is the strength of the force, or we can say that how much force is applied on an object is known as its magnitude. And the force is represented by an arrow which gives the direction in which it is acting. For example, if a force is applied on the vehicle in this direction, then the arrow will be in this direction, which will represent the direction of the force, and 100 Newton is the magnitude of the force, where Newton is the SI unit of force, which gives the magnitude of the force acting on the body. So whenever we will write the force acting on an object, we will write its magnitude along with its direction. For example, we will write 5 Newton of force acting on the object towards the north. So here north is representing the direction of the force. There is another unit of force which is known as kilogram force, and it is represented by kgf. 1 kilogram force is defined as the force required to vertically lift a mass of 1 kilogram. And 1 kilogram force and Newton are related to each other by this relation. 1 kilogram force is equal to 9.8 Newton.